welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna start trying to get this seat mounted up. So that being said, went out, got a little bit of metal. So see if we can't make these seat brackets. I'm just gonna make some little individual ones. I have a design in my head. I'm not 100% sure of exactly how I'm gonna do it, but I kind of have a little design in my head that I'm just toying with. This metal was fairly cheap, so I'm just gonna try it out. If it works, then I'll try and clean it up. By no means am I a fabricator, so please don't roast me in the comments. I just have a little tiny welder, but I'm gonna do the best I can. I might just tack weld the stuff and then have someone weld it up once I have it in the shape that I need and all the stuff. But the floor is contoured all kinds of weird, like you'll have one section that's 2 inches higher than the other. So I'm just gonna make this thing with individual legs, try and level it out and see exactly where I need things. With that being said, I'm gonna make some sparks, cut some metal, and give you guys a little bit of entertainment. So here it comes. In the garage, it's a day or two later, and I'm still working on the seat brackets. Made a little bit of progress on them. I've squared them off. They're perfectly square, perfectly level, and I got them in the car. I just got to get them welded up. So this is what we got so far. Held together with vice grips. Obviously, I'm going to cut the excess off of each spot and grind it and make it look decent. But if you look right here, we are can see that. I will try to zoom in when I'm editing, but we're level there, and level there. So with that being said, it doesn't come apart when I take the clamps off. I'm then going to take it over to my buddy's house, who actually has a real welder, not this same little flux core welder that I have, and hopefully it will hold up. Well, actually I know it'll hold up because it's pretty thick steel, but either way, my little flux core welder is not rated for this. This is a little bit thicker than 1/4 inch, so we're gonna have a pretty stout seat bracket, but we're gonna get it all tacked up with the flux core just so it stays in place, and then we're gonna take it over there to him to get the real welder on it. With that being said, after we get that, we're gonna drill the seat, get the seat brackets mounted up, the little Kirky ones that are supposed to have a flat surface to mount to, and mount them to this bracket, which is contoured to the floor, and then we'll try and move it around and see how much adjustment we have, just so I can get comfortable in there. Once I'm comfortable, we're going to finish bolt everything all the way down, and we'll pull it back out, paint it, and make it look nice. So with that being said, here it comes. Alrighty guys, so it's been a few days since the last time I picked up this camera. I've done a few things on the car. I wanted to surprise you and not just make a whole nother video on me working on the car. And I just wanted to come back and just go for a cruise. As you can tell, the car came back on a flatbed. I may or may not have had a catastrophic failure. So before I go into that, we're gonna go over some things that I did with the car to get it ready for the drive. I redid the wiring, and I don't know if you can see it down there running from the very front all the way through the car and into the back for the fuel pump, power, and the ground. I got the seat mounted up and finished. So we got that all good to go. And one other thing that I did, and like I said, we're just gonna be kind of like a little surprise for you guys and then just have a full running car. If you look in there, you can actually see that I mean, it's kind of hard to see, but I got a new cluster for it and put all of my gauges right there. Got a new steering wheel. So, on to the bad news. It came back on a rollback. How this all happened, the car started right up, perfectly fine. Backed it out into the driveway, let it idle for a while, got it up to temp. It wasn't overheating. It was still running 50 pounds of oil pressure. The car drove perfect for about 2 miles. As I was cruising, some guy flagged me down, decided to stop, talk to him. I figured he just wanted to talk about the car. And of course he did. Come to find out, I actually bought this car from his grandfather, which was the gentleman that sold me, obviously, the car. Told me about it, how he was the one that assembled the engine. He was the one that helped his grandfather put the front end under it, and pretty much everything. He had a lot to do with this car being the way it is. So he told me all the ins and outs of the motor, basically that, and I quote, "It was a bad bitch." I know I'm probably gonna bleep that out, but he said it makes around 500 horsepower, trick flow heads, told me the internals. He said it's actually a 331 cubic inch stroker. But while we were talking, I couldn't hear him, so I shut the car off. Completely fine. Didn't have a knock, didn't have anything. Well, we finished our conversation. He went to go back inside of his house, and basically I go to start the car, and it makes 2 giant clunks and the motor locks up. So now I have a locked up motor. I'm hoping it is just hydrolocked from maybe a little bit of coolant or a blown head gasket, and I didn't bend a rod when it did that. Not 100% sure, but it happens. I can't be too mad about it, but it happens. I'm definitely not pleased because I really wanted to have this thing done within the next 3-4 months and completely drivable, no issues, so I could take it to a huge show that happens here in Daytona Beach called the Turkey Rod Runs. But now I don't have a motor, so we're gonna try and see if it's just hydrolocked. I'm gonna pull all the plugs, see if it'll turn over, drain the oil, see if there's any metal in the oil, and if there's not, fill it back up, try to start it. If it starts and starts knocking, I know I probably have a bent rod, but who knows? I mean, if that is the case, it is what it is. Like I said, stuff happens. Guess we're just gonna have to get a built motor. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling these spark plugs and see if I can't get it to turn over and free up. So here it comes. Well guys, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we bent a rod. Pulled the spark plug, she was running pretty fat. timing was good. It didn't jump timing. The distributor's in there still tight. Put the breaker bar and the ratchet on the crank, and she won't move either way. We then decided to pull the valve covers, which they are still undone. You can tell I just have to put it back together, and just to see if it dropped the valve. They all seem good, and I guess I'm going to wind up ending this video off here, nice and short. I was just trying to make sure there wasn't going to be any problems when I took it for the first test drive and filmed it with you guys. I should have brought the camera with me so I could have filmed it, but I just wanted you guys to be able to go, okay, it's running and driving now, it's all good. And now we're back to square one. So with that being said, I mean, we're probably going to pull the cylinder heads off here the next few days, see if there's anything in the cylinders themselves. If we can't see anything that way, we're going to drain the oil and then pull the pan, see if we see any bent rods or any kind of carnage or any metal in the oil. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Can't be mad at it. This is my doing. I drove it, I wasn't beating on it, and I literally just tried to start the car and it was running perfectly fine up until that point. So I'm not 100% sure of what happened. It just decided it was done. And if it comes down to it and I got to put a new motor in it, I'll do that. I'll see what I can do about paying for it. I don't really have the money for a motor right now, so I'm definitely going to continue working on the interior of this car to get it set up and ready, and then I'll probably take this thing over to a chassis shop and just let this thing get set up like a full-on race car, and then we'll worry about a drivetrain and powertrain another day once I have more money. All that being said, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.